this thing on? Okay, more Koans. They are so fun. Let's do some in lunch. Last time I had some. I don't know. I got a bit tired, I guess. There was some confusion about one of the describes in AboutPSProviders, but I kind of went through them. I made some issues on the repo, so let's see if we can figure them out. So let's just continue with PSProviders. So we're on the variable provider. Hi Shane. Let me just get the chat up on a second screen as well. So we are on the variable provider now. The variable provider allows direct access to variables as objects, allowing you to determine the name, value, and metadata of variables that are available in the current session and scope. So the context is generic commandlets. It allows access to variables in the current scope. So we use set variable to set a new variable named test with the value integer 22. And the variable data is get item variable, the variable provider, variable colon test. And the variable name should be test. 22 should be the variable data. And then we have options. I don't know what that is. So let's create a variable. Let's do it the old way. And so we can do get item variable test dot options. So they are none. Do you know, Shane, if there are any options that you can put on variables? Well, what would set them? I haven't used them before. Oh, I don't know. Is there somewhere we can find them? Anything about them? Let's see if I can get a browser that you can see as well. Oh, so it's the read only. I don't know. Maybe if we use the, maybe we can find something if we use the set options. Maybe there, yeah. Yeah, okay, so it's all scope, constant, none, private, and read only, and unspecified. Yeah, so there are those options. And it allows you to remove variables. So we have a variable called test, which is 1, 2, 3. And yeah, 1, 2, 3 should be test. If we remove it, it will be null, I guess. And get item should throw an exception type. So I had some issues with the should throw exception type earlier. Let's see what we can get now. So if we do this on something that doesn't exist, we get an item not found exception. So I think it will fail this. It did so earlier, at least. because it's not able to convert for some reason. To convert this to a system type, and that's weird because I was able to do it in the PowerShell session itself. That was on line 253, yeah. Why? So there is this one. So if we remove it, we wouldn't get it. So then let's do it the right way. Now equals test should be true. So why? Why does it expect 1, 2, 3? I don't know. Let's measure it again. See if it fails again. In a script block. What do you mean? Ignore? Oh, the exception type. Yeah. Maybe let's see if we can get to it. For some reason it failed on this one. But it shouldn't. It shouldn't at all. We had some issues with this. Yeah, it expects one. Line 253. Why is it expecting 1, 2, 3 when we remove it? I'll just make a note here and because it should be null, I think. Let's see if we set 1, 2, 3 here, if we can get past it. That's weird because when you remove it, it would be null. Definitely. So, do you... Yeah, I agree. It's weird, and we do it on the line after, so unless the PSKoans module does something before each line, it shouldn't be, it should be gone. Yeah, so it passed now, but now we're on the accept, so that's weird. I'll see if yeah, I don't know why this happens. Anyways, so this should throw an exception type, but So it won't convert this to a type for some reason. So you thought I needed a script block? I can try. Will that help? This is silly places to get stuck on because they aren't really errors, I think. So what we'll do if it still fails, I'll just remove the exception type and put it on should throw. Yeah, let's see. So yeah, that didn't help at all. So it won't convert it. So for some reason, I don't know why. Let's just remove it. There might be some issue with the exception type in Pastor as well, for all I know. I'll take a look at it afterwards. And it exposes data from default variables. So the variables are getChildItem variable colon, so it will just contain all the variables in the session at the moment. And something should be variables where the name equals confirm preference dot value, and confirm preference on my system right now is high. And maximum alias count I don't have one. There's nothing. So yeah. It allows you to set variable options. Yeah, so this was what we were looking at earlier. Set variable name test value test. Variable is get item variable test. Our options is system management, automation, scoped item options, read only. And var should be in this case test. And once more, we should throw some sort of exception type. Can't get it working, so we'll just do that. Yeah, so that would make it read only. Yeah, oh, so if you try to remove it, you should get some sort of not able to delete or some sort of, yeah. So let's see what kind of error we get actually. So if we have new variable name arrow option read only and value something, if we try to set it to something else, we should get an error, yeah, because it's read only or constant. And if we try to remove it, we will get another error. So session state unauthorized access exception. Cool. So another context, variable commandlets. And those work similarly to the generic commandlets. So we create a variable called test and set it to 73577. Info is, and we put it into info. Test should be info name. Info options should be none, in this case 2 I think. And info value should be 7357. Isn't this the same as the first one? This one? Allows access to variables in the current scope. Yeah, I think this is some copy pasta stuff. Okay, and it can retrieve just the value. So set variable get me, value got, and then if we try to get it with the value only parameter, we should get got into the variable. So that should complete, AboutPSProviders, I think. There was a lot of issues with the entire Koan AboutPSProvider. A lot of weird issues. I don't know why though. Let's see if we got it correctly now. Finding stuff to talk about during these measure karma is hard. I think I said it earlier, but it is. So we had one error. So on line 254, it expected an error. Yeah, and it doesn't because for some reason it doesn't remove it. Did we set test to read only? No, can't. No, that's weird. Yeah. Well, providers are pretty cool, actually. At least I think, especially when you start using ships and make your own. They can be a pretty cool database interface, I guess. For instance, a Powershell conference last year, someone created. So someone created a ship's implementation of the conference agenda. So you could mount the entire agenda, or mount it. You could add it as a provider, and then you could browse through the conference agenda using CD and get item. So that was kind of cool. So that's where they get real useful, I think. And I've also used providers a lot with AD, especially when you are interacting with 2 different directories. So you can mount or you can add one provider for one of the directories and another provider for another directory. And then the Active Directory commandlets are aware of which provider you're in. So if you change to the first or AD1 provider and do a get AD user there, it will look it up under that provider. And then if you change to AD2 : for instance, and do a get AD user there, it will look it up in that provider as well. So I think they are pretty cool and pretty useful, but yeah, there was a lot of issues in the Koans at least. So I don't know why it doesn't remove it. It's weird. So let's just put a knot on there then and measure it again. I should probably have measured it while I was ranting about or talking about providers, or but anyways, no, I think they are pretty cool, and also for SQL databases they can be useful, I think. So and also the registry HKLM and HKCU providers that are built in are also pretty awesome on Windows, I think. Makes it well, at least easier when you know how to do it than browsing through the GUI registry regedit. Still nothing. 270. So that's this one. Okay. So how does this work then? Do we have this one yet still? Yeah, we have. So if we do var equals get variable row, and then okay, so should be so it will, is it a type it's after? Yeah. So the system automation PS variable doesn't have a default. Okay, so only PS variable. Is it a string? Yeah, DBA tools is probably better for databases. Absolutely. Why does it behave like this? I have no idea. Let's just do this. And this is PowerShell 5 as well. Or Windows PowerShell at least. That's pretty weird. What if we change to PowerShell? But then everything would be different because the hash tables would be wrong, so it would fail already there. I think, yeah, let's just switch back to, for whatever reason, I don't know why it behaves like this today. Let's move on to the next one. We need to measure here as well. Yeah, I think, but I think they are weird as all. They are really weird, these errors. I don't know if they are reproducible at all. I have to check on, at least on my system they are reproducible. I need to check on some other system, I think. Yeah, Joel is a great guy. I added a lot of issues on this Koan already, but it seems like we need to add more. Still an error. So it expected another. So still here it expects an error, and I expect an error when you do. So why would it so they are, so it sets it to, it's reflective, yeah, okay, so it sets it back to the but still it should throw an error, because you shouldn't be allowed to remove it when you do this. Weird. Really weird. Real weird. Let's see if we can move on now. Get out of this trout. Maybe the next one is a bit better. Well, hopefully the next one is a bit better. There's also a lot of stuff in this Koan that would change on every session as well. So I think it's starting to be a lot of cleanup before I can start the streams. So I think I need to keep the session, or at least try to keep the session. But at least we can move on to AboutNewObject. So that's nice. So AboutNewObject. Okay, new object, as the name implies, is used to create objects. For the most part, it is used to instantiate .NET objects, but it can also be used to create COM objects for interactions with the Windows COM interfaces. So, describe new object. It can create objects of a specified type. So, object new object, type name, system collections hash table, and then hash table equals an empty hash table. So hash table should be of type system collections hash table, and also objects should be of type system collections hash table. And it can create objects of any available type. So PSObject is a new object type name PSObject. So it should be of type PSObject. I don't know if I need the fully qualified type name, but let's see when we measure karma afterwards. So this is a real short one. And it can accept arguments for the constructor. Object equals new object string, argument list, char BANANA 03. I don't know what this constructor for the string object is. But at least it inputs an array of banana, which would spell banana, and I don't know what these numbers signify, but the object should be banana, I think, and it should be of type string. Can we list the string constructors? No? We probably can, but let's move on. And it is just one way to instantiate an object. There are several others as well. So object is new object PSObject, and you can also use the .NET notation, which is PSObject : new. So object should be of type system management automation PSObject, and that should object to be as well, and you should probably use the fully qualified type name here as well. So let's measure. This was a short one. Oh, these are long waits. Let's look up the, oh, here we go. Okay, so the argument list is only, so you take the array, a char array with the letters banana, and you start at index 0 and take the 3 first. So it will be banned. So while we measure, let's take a look at the, let's see if we can find .NET string constructor. So it's this one, I guess. Yeah, initializes a new instance of the string class to the value indicated by an array of Unicode characters, starting character position and a length. But there's one, yeah, so it's this constructor we've used. Okay. Nice to know. Is it just me, or are they taking longer and longer to measure? There we go. So about CompareObject. So CompareObject is primarily for comparing collections of objects rather than individual items, and is usually used to display data comparisons to the user. So describe CompareObject. It compares collections of objects. I don't know what they seem to be. I don't know when you typed it, so. It compares collections of objects. Comparison is a hash table with a reference object, which is an array with the words "this is the reference," and an array with the words "these is the difference." So we do compare data, which would be CompareObject comparison. So something should be CompareData 0.inputObject, and something should be CompareData side indicator. So I have not used CompareObject a lot, so let's actually, since we can't do multi-line in VS Code, we'll type them in. So copy. This is them, and let's just minimize this a bit so we can. So compare data equals CompareObject. At comparison. And and compare data is then looks like something like this. So input object, okay, input object 0 would be these. So why would it be that? And side indicator. Do we have some more info on compare object somewhere? The compare object commandlet compares two sets of objects. One set of objects is the reference set and the other is the difference set. The result of the comparison indicates whether a property value appeared only in the object from the reference set, indicated by the symbol pointing to the left, only in the object from the difference set, indicated by the symbol pointing to the right, or if the include equal parameters is specified in both objects, indicated by the equals symbol. If the reference set or the difference set is null, this commandlet generates a terminating error. So do we need to specify a reference? Yeah, so we need to specify a reference object and we need to specify difference objects. So that's what we are doing here. Oh, there's a lot of windows here now. So that's what we're doing here. And then so it would list, so it would start looking at difference objects. That's probably why these is first. So these only exists in the difference objects. That's why it points to the right. Also difference. Oh, I need to keep the right windows open. So these exist only in the difference object. Difference exists only in the difference object. This exists only in the reference object, and reference exists only in the reference object. So the side indicator points to the side that the input object exists in. So if we do a compare object with include equal, then compare data would also include the words that are in both. Okay. That's kind of cool. I don't immediately see a use case, but that's okay. So it would be these, and it would be equals and larger than. Oh. And this one. And compare data 0 should be of type. Yeah, what should it be of type? It would be of type, where's this? So if we do a GM on this, so we get a custom object. So it creates a PS custom object. Okay, that's okay, I guess. Why wouldn't it create just a new PS comparison object or something like that? I don't know. Because it would contain the same every time. I never get if type is from GM or get type dot full name. I think they are the same. So you can do get type. Ah, so it's full. Yeah, so you can pull the fully qualified type name from full name, which is what is displayed on GM. Is that what you meant? Can we do what kind of my keyboard changed. The woes of having a Norwegian keyboard. So if we do a GM on this as well, we can't. Oh, we need to pipe it too. So that's a member definition. So if we do the type name, so why do we get 6 of them? Is base name? Doesn't exist. But if we do a GM on, so this is so that's a system runtime type. Okay, so that doesn't give us anything. No, it's just name. Yeah, so it's not base name, it's name. Base name and full name. So it's name and is full name even, yeah, so full name is, it's base type, I guess. No, base type is not, it's just an object, that's just object. So base type is where it inherits from? I don't know. Anyways, compare object at least creates a PS custom object, which is kind of weird because the object would be the same every time. I would think it would contain a input object and a side indicator, unless it contains some dynamic parameter or dynamic fields as well. No, it doesn't. So it's only input object and side indicator. So they could just as well have created their own type. I don't know why they're using. I don't know why they're using a custom object, but that's okay. So the last one is it can display items that occur in both sets. Yeah, so that's what we were looking at. If you include equal, so it would contain the side indicator would contain an equal, and so here we are trying to find the side indicator on the object the, which exists in both of them, so that should be equals. In my day-to-day programming, I'm not sure if this is something I would immediately have use for. As far as I can tell, this creates a visual overview of objects that exist in both of them. You would need to parse the side indicator, I think, if you wanted to use it programmatically. Well, that's just an if or a switch, I guess, but still, I don't know. Unless side indicator includes some other formats that we don't necessarily see. That's okay. So that was about CompareObject as well. I think I'm going to call it a day. And then we move on with AboutMeasureObject the next time. At least AboutCompareObject and about what was the last one? AboutCompareObject and AboutNewObject were more or less error-free, so that's nice. So we had to fight a bit with PSProviders, but that's okay. So I'll see you guys when I am back next time. So thanks a lot, and I'll see you. Bye, Shane.